we go. Manulani Aluli Meyer is the fifth daughter of Emma Aluli and Harry Meyer, who grew up in the sands of Mokapu and Kailua Beach on the island of Oahu and along the rainy shoreline of Hilo, Paliku. The Aluli Ohana is a large, diverse group of scholar activists dedicated to Hawaiian education, restorative justice, land reclamation, Ohana health practices, cultural revitalization, arts education, prison reform, transformational economics, food sovereignty, and Hawaiian music.
Wow.
Manu works in the field of indigenous epistemology and its role in worldwide awakening. Professor Aluli Meyer obtained her doctorate in philosophy of education from Harvard in 1998. She's a worldwide keynote speaker, writer, and international evaluator of indigenous PhDs. Her book, Ho'oulu, Our Time of Becoming, Hawaiian Epistemology and Early Writings, is in its third printing. Her background is in wilderness education, coaching, and experiential learning, and she's been an instructor for Outward Bound, Hawaii Bound, a coach for Special Olympics in 3 states, and a passionate advocate for the Hawaiian charter school movement. Dr. Aluli Meyer has been an associate professor of education at UH Hilo, spent 5 years in New Zealand as the lead designer and teacher for He Waka Hiringa, an innovative accredited Masters of Applied Indigenous Knowledge at Te Wananga o Aotearoa, the largest Maori university with 30,000 more students. Do you need to correct my pronunciation there?
Good, you're doing good.
Great.
You're doing great.
Dr. Meyer is currently working at UH West Oahu as a konohiki of Kulana o Kapolei, a movement developed by Hawaii Papa Oke'au, the University of Hawaii's system initiative to indigenize the university. Manu is a wahine kalai pohaku, a stone carver, along with Le Ano and Le Hala Maker. She is dedicated to indigenous food sovereignty and works to bring the coconut back into daily use.
Oh.
She's also a 30-year practitioner of Ho'oponopono, who appreciates and learns from the purpose and function of conflict.
Wow. I learned a lot from that I didn't know. Thank you.
Aloha. Aloha mai.
All there.
Yep. Such an honor. Thank you for this invitation, Krista and Lisa. Thank you so much.
Oh,
how can I be of service?
I am so honored and excited, and I have to tell you, first of all, that I'm speaking to you from Goddard College, which is founded on the ideals of John Dewey, progressive education.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's wonderful to find in your book a chapter on Hawaiian epistemology and the aesthetics of John Dewey. And I feel like there's a real alignment between Goddard pedagogy and your own thinking. But we don't have to go there just yet. I just wanted to locate myself. This is where I am right now. It feels absolutely right. I wanted to start by...
Fantastic.
Yeah, I wanted to start by telling you how this even came about. Maybe Krista has told you the story, but she brought, when we were in Topanga together for the Dina Metzger Writing Intensive, she brought Dina a copy of your book, Holu. I don't know how to say it. Holu?
Ho'oulu.
Holu. She brought her a copy of Our Time of Becoming. And Dina brought it in to us the day after she was given the book and said, I want to read some of this out loud to you. And she began reading to us from the foreword, and then realized that she wanted each of us to read from the foreword. The book was passed from hand to hand, and each of us read a paragraph. And I wish you could have heard the sounds that we made as these words were being read. It's so unusual to hear philosophical thought be so alive be so integrated, have so much presence, and have zero stuffiness. It doesn't feel academic at all. It's just life, but it's also deep and rigorous philosophy. So in the room, we were just all in a state of, this is new. We've never heard anything like this. And my own thinking was, this has to find its way into dark matter. So we decided, on the basis of the foreword to this book, to dedicate an issue of dark matter to the question of how do we know? And I'll read the passage that inspired it. I'll read this whole paragraph because this will give listeners an idea of what I mean when I say there's zero stuffiness and you bring it to life. Under epistemology, philosophy of knowledge. I mean, really, what does that even mean? I still laugh thinking about my cousin, Emmett Aluli, mixing it up with the word episiotomy. We had a good laugh over that one, and so it began. What exactly is knowledge? Is it a thing, an event, a practice, a movement toward? What does it mean to be intelligent? What is the nature of knowledge, and what is worth passing on? Well, this felt so important. These questions felt so important that I felt we need to have a whole issue. And it's thanks to you in this book that we know it's fully formed. It'll be live in a few weeks.
Nice.
Dedicated to the question, how do we know? And
Nice.
yeah.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. So I think one of the things that so strikes me, and reading you and also seeing you in a couple of YouTube films, is that there's just no separation at all between what you're talking about and what you're thinking about and who you are. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Like your bio and all the things that you've done, which made that more true, that you have been all of these things. There's no separation between them for you. Can you talk about this? The no separation.
I think that's the most important aspect of life right now, is that sense of isness, that no separation between, I love Shakespeare's idea. It took me 20 years to figure it out when he said, by my actions, teach my mind. I thought he had the pronouns mixed up. By your actions, teach my mind.
Yeah.
But it's by my actions, teach my mind. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, we could be in sync. Like, whoa, that was a revelation for me.
Well, especially if we've come through academia as I did, it's even more of a revelation.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, it was important. It was important for me to experience Harvard. I went there because Howard Gardner was there. He was the multiple intelligence guru, and I am bodily kinesthetically intelligent, and saved my life. And so, and the history of colonization in Hawaii is very profound, and we are still here. So we are committed to helping America evolve. And part of it is recognizing, first of all, that we're different, and that difference is not bad. And one doesn't have to tolerate difference. You can actually be inspired, educated, and instructed by difference. And I really get that about these times. And that's why finding the energy of life, ho'oulu, the word ho'oulu means, its lowest means to cause to grow, but in a more vibrational, simultaneous frequency, it actually means to be possessed by spirit. And in that spirit possession, you do not know you are not meant to be cognitively prescriptive of what you're supposed to be doing. Your job is to get out of the way and be of service to what you're meant to be doing collectively. Yeah. And that's what for Krista to bring the book there and for you to read it and to get it, how I wrote it, you're basic, I haven't talked, I wrote it 20 years ago.
No one's I didn't know that. It doesn't feel like that at all.
No one's talked to me about that book.
No.
But it's every aspect of my life. And in Hawaii, as a Hawaiian, you do not talk about things that you've done. You do what you're meant to do, and you keep doing it. So it's just lovely to pause for a minute and catch my breath.
That's so moving to me that you're moved by that. And I'm so glad that you know it, because it stayed with me. And I quote parts of it to people all the time. One part I didn't say that is so important is that right away the land comes up and the ocean comes up. There's scores of generations upon this beloved and breathtaking landscape, and we had views on this matter because we thrived here. And from that thriving came the highest expression of a people, art. Philosophy and art, not separate.
John Dewey knows that.
John Dewey, totally. That's John Dewey. This is what we live here at Goddard too. In our speech, in our countenance, in our health, in our spirit, in our leisure, in our work, in our art. Imagine, look at where we live. I mean, really see it. There's Ike, which is to see. Knowing and seeing are one in the word Ike. I came to know a little bit of Hawaiian through you. Look at how we must have lived. And where living is great art, there is always great philosophy. I mean, who has ever put that together in that way? The land, the ocean is here somewhere, but it's what you saw as a people is what mattered. How you lived, what you lived on.
Yeah. No, this is why Hawaii, I believe Hawaii will be pivotal in saving the world, because we truly, truly believe and am inspired by our natural world. Yeah. And I grew up where blue ocean meets, and the ancient color of love in my heart is blue. And so blue, blue, blue. When they showed me the cover of the book, Ho'oulu, I said to Melly, who did it, Melly, how'd you come to this cover? She goes, I don't know, I just thought of blue. And it just made me cry and cry. That's a rock, and that's the center of our ulu pole. So it's such a beautiful picture. That's my sister. My sister Melly did the artwork. My twin sister Moana wrote one of the forwards, and Miley, my other sister, published it. So,
wow, 3 sisters. That's wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about I know you've talked about this many times, but a bit about the 3 forms of knowing.
Yes. Ike started me off on that because Ike means it's our word to see, to physically see, and that distinction is different than looking. Looking is na. So Ike infers a type of consciousness that's separate from looking.
Oh, that's
the word is very unique, and also our word for ho'olohe and ho'olono. Ho'olohe is to listen, ho'olono is to hear, and lono is our deity, our deity of peace, abundance, harvest. So when you activate lono, you're actually activating kind of a mutuality, so that you're helped, so that you're not, just you're being helped to really hear what the person's saying. So Ike is our word for knowledge also. So it's our word to see, it's our word to know, and it's also our word to be given revelations from the gods. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, there it is. And then all of a sudden the clouds parted, And I was reading Ken Wilber's work, I have to tell you, and in sex ecology and spirituality, and it got I believe he lost the plot when he got into a form of unifying, trying to put everything in one theory.
Yeah.
But I did get from him that the trilogy of physical, mental, and spiritual was in most traditions. And then I saw it, because then it was in ours. And then it's in Mana'o'io, Mana'olana, and Aloha. It's in Mana'o'io is knowing. It's
Yeah.
I'o is inside. Mana'olana, lana is to float. So
Yeah.
it's knowledge. It's like information. And then Aloha is understanding.
Yeah.
It's really, when you understand something, you go to Aloha. If you don't go to Aloha, you don't understand it. You know, you're in a fear state. So I just appreciate it. Then I saw it everywhere in the Upanishads. I saw it in Spinoza. I saw it in all the writings, that there is a physical external world. Teilhard de Chardin is my favorite. He called it. Yeah, he was amazing. There's a physical, mental, and spiritual world, and for lack of a better term, spirituality. We're beginning to use words on that. Have you seen my latest work on holographic epistemology? Because
yes, I want to quote from that.
Did you read something? So because I'd go around the world and talk about Hawaiian epistemology, and everyone go, "Oh, nice, thank you." But can I tell you about my wedding in Waikiki? And I'm like, so there's a separation. There wasn't a seriousness to it. And then I go indigenous epistemology, and people go, "Oh, that's nice, but we're not indigenous." And I'm like, "No, but this is you. This is you." And then so now we're just calling it holographic epistemology.
I love
Native
it.
common sense.
I love it. And even more, I love the subtitle, which is Native Common Sense.
Yep. Because it is.
Sounds really.
It's supposed to go poo, and then native common sense. No, it's meant to make you laugh. It's meant to make you go, what on earth is she going to talk about? And it's native common sense. We've got to do this type of talking in academia. I don't consider myself an academic at all, but we have to talk like that just to.
We need academics like you. I call myself a recovering academic, but if you were an academic, I would say bring it on, because why not? I mean, this stuff is so important. And just in the way you talked about it, it's so clear you're so interdisciplinary. I teach in an interdisciplinary program, and I don't think I've met a thinker who's more interdisciplinary than you are. You bring so much together, especially in this essay, holographic epistemology. I mean, just in your field of references, just now. I mean, Spinoza, Buddha, Ken Wilber, it's all over. But it's this web that you weave. It's interdependence. That's what you're always talking about. They're all woven in this web, and it makes perfect sense when you talk about it. But I wanted absolutely. I wanted you to talk more about the aloha. You've hardly said anything except what you did say just intrigued me. You said the fear. We have to go there, or we're stuck in fear. That's
totally. I believe aloha is the primal source of our collective emergence. Lee Irwin says the same way. I'm being coached by Lee Irwin's work. If you need to read one more author, it'll be Lee Irwin, IRWIN. And he says love is the primal source of our collective emergence. Our kupuna says that truth is the highest goal, and aloha is the greatest truth. You know what I mean? I mean, and then we have Proverbs, ulua ekevalina ake aloha, that means loving is the practice of an awake mind. You know what I mean? Like, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And I'm not the smartest or the sharpest crayon in the pack, but I know after I came back from Harvard and asked my kupuna, what does it mean to be intelligent if you are Hawaiian? And they kept telling me over and over that if you're no more love, no more aloha, you're king. You're nothing.
Oh,
You're
wow.
sad. You're sad for you. So all of a sudden, I went from feeling like, kind of slow and not too smart my whole life to feeling eleo, to feeling akamai, to feeling intelligent, because we get aloha. I know I get aloha. And so all of a sudden I felt like, wow,
You
because
must be one of the
if my
smartest
family,
people on the planet because you
well,
actually
it's not valued in our education. It's
know.
it's mockerized, and it's
Yes,
called it's mockerized. It's so
yes,
so to actually stand up and value what love means
yes.
as a form of intelligence.
And as you
That is
call it
so when
somewhere, you say it's a rigorous practice.
totally when I evaluate PhDs, I have to start off by saying this is not a critique. I do not critique another person's um, thoughts. My job is to understand them, especially if they're Navajo, they're Cree, they're Aboriginal, they're Maori. How, as a Hawaiian, can you imagine someone coming in my house and telling me, hey, that you go over there? I'm like, oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so working to understand, but that's what Christ said, Christ said, seek not to be understood, rather to understand. And there it is. That's the rigor of what love means for our intelligence. I think, honestly, Lisa, I think that's the new consciousness, KNEW, that Einstein asked for,
I was just going to say, I'm so glad you went there. I was just going to say, but you also make a connection to the quantum sciences. And I have to say, that's where I really got excited. And I will read you something because this is where you really do it. And if you just talked about the Buddhists, you talk about this matrix, the expressible content of enlightenment. And then you say, the transspatial, contemplative, intuitive, loving, mystic, still, and joyful dimension is the on switch of our lives. That was written by you. You have to, that's a sentence that I want to memorize.
Well, I just went down the categories. You see the spiritual category? I just went down. It's all there. That's the popcorn that's going to get us out of the fracas of our. We're lost in the force of our ego and of our cognitive accumulation of information as the highest form of intelligence. That is so not true.
Then all of this falls under aloha. This is aloha, what you're talking about here, right? It's the transspatial, it's quantum connectivity, you could say.
Yep.
And it's the aloha piece that feels the most urgent in this particular moment.
Yep, it is. It is. And so, I am trying to approach it in a different way so that people don't feel like, I'm just singing Kumbaya, my Lord, it's Kumbaya. But it's so rigorous to actually believe and then to actualize the idea that love is our higher frequency, and the expression of that in our thinking and our doing is actually a commitment to it. And when that commitment, that's why intentionality is the hallmark of consciousness, Husserl said. You know what I mean? That's one of my favorite. Once you're intentional, simultaneity then starts to get activated. It's not like our thinking creates our reality. Our doing in simultaneous commitment to trusting creates our reality. So that's where simultaneity is that synonym for paticca samuppada, for the Buddhist ideas of dependent co-arising, of mutual causality. I love that stuff. Our kupuna had the same ideas. Aloha aku, aloha mai, kokua mai, kokua aku, a'o aku, a'o mai. When you are giving, you are receiving at the same time. So I tell teenagers, it's not about love. And everyone goes, ooh, boo. And I go, no, it's about loving. You guys, you think, why am I not loved? Just because you're not loving. Get on the kitty popo. Yeah, get on it. Do it.
I love so much. You say somewhere that you have an amazing definition of indigenous. You say it's that which endures.
Yep. Yep. People feel indigenous is a racial distinction, and or proximity. Proximity is now dissolving with the diaspora of everybody. So for me, indigenous is more in line with continuity and that which has endured, and it's endured for a reason. What's the reason? Yeah, it's just kind of detail. But yeah, and that's why, people get pissed off when I say that. I said, everybody is indigenous. Figure out what that means to you, and then let's collaborate. And so the collaboration is done through your difference, not through what we have in common. Difference is what we have in common. So when I can actually see what is different with you, then indigeneity as a philosophical construct gets activated, because everybody knows what people are good at, and then I don't over subscribe. I don't micromanage you because you're in charge of the luau. I mean, you're in charge of the pit, you're in charge of the pig, you're in charge of the squid luau, you're in charge of something. So it makes sense with people, and when people don't know each other, all we got to do is get to know each other. So when I put big events on, I go, what's your goal for this event? I go, friendships. They just think I'm not serious. No, I'm serious. It's friendships, and I'm over the objectives thing. I think objectives put a ceiling at the infinite, and there's no ceiling to infinity,
Beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I know one thing I wanted to ask you, this may be where we'll have to end, but you talk about moving into the internal. You talk about
Moving
to the internal.
Yep. It's an inward dive now. The nation within.
Again, we're talking about this time and why it's urgent. This is in connection with what needs to happen right now, because we're having this conversation in the context of a now where so much is being destroyed. And so yes, in that context, I want to hear, some would say, well, we need to be out there preventing all that.
Yeah, and the out there is the in there. I mean, there's nothing more annoying and ineffective as good intention. The road to hell is paved with it, and we get that in Hawaii because it's really things of quality of no fear of time. I love that button, and so we must recognize the they is we and the we is I and the I is you, and all that simultaneity, cook that is so liberating. But there is no they. There really is no. I mean, people get pissed when I say that. So please do not misunderstand me. There is something happening outside of me, but actually, it's really in an inside expression. When I heal myself, when I understand my own damaged child and forgive her and feed her and send her on her way, then I can actually collaborate in a higher frequency with way more people. Yeah. And so, and then be clear with them and be clear with myself, because I'm clear with myself. And so that's why we can do this work with more, even urgency is not the issue. It's our effectiveness in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because everybody wants to help us here in Hawaii, and you got to know what we're doing already, and then join that. Don't micromanage us with too much science. We are scientists. We recognize what needs to be done. Someone please help us. Help us.
You have done your own inner work.
It's all inward work. Ends up. Inward, outward. Inward, outward.
I have to read another passage because this is one of the things I love. The way I said this before, but the way you just sort of casually smash through one dualism after another, just poof. It was, okay, as if inside and outside and mind and body were the same word. We have that in ideas like Ike and now,
Wow.
yeah. We
We
found
do.
out, this is so interesting, we found out that insight and seeing is a false duality. They are one, separated only by training and fear. That idea has changed me the most. It allows me to be educated by beauty, to have a rapport with the qualities of rain, to see my own intentions become tangible through ritual.
No one's
That
ever said they
idea of
understood
insight,
that.
yeah, you did. It's moving, huh?
Thank you.
It really just made me think so much. Think isn't the right word, but it made me, oh, insight and seeing could be the same thing. But the power of seeing, we have yet to really fathom the power of seeing.
Yeah, totally.
Because we have yet to fathom the power of what we see, the external world. But as you say,
Totally.
external is internal. Yeah. It's just,
Yeah, we're overtrained. We actually think there's a separation. We're overtrained.
yeah.
We really are. Yep, we are. Yep. No one's ever read that sentence to me. And I wrote it. I wrote that all in one sitting, and then I thought, I don't think anyone's going to get this, but I need to say it.
This was,
I need
read
to
aloud
say
in that
this.
group, and we all just stopped and, oh, insight and seeing are one thing. This is an indigenous mind at work. I mean, I'm sorry, I have to distinguish. I don't have that kind of mind. It took an indigenous mind to write those words. And maybe now I can become more indigenous thanks to this, but for me, this is indigenous epistemology, just right there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
To be educated by beauty is it just has changed my life. And we sing so many songs. I mean, about the love of this place. I mean, our songs are mythic in their connection to the touch of a wind at a certain hour, and how it brings us back to the memories of our lives and the aroma of our beloved flowers. Oh, and the images of the moon. We're in the Ole phase now. To know the moon phases is very vital for us. Still. And so yeah, when most people say we need to save the land is okay. The land is just going to shake us off, we need our own good counsel, and we need to heal with each other. The land is going to be okay. It's going to take a deep breath and exhale, and we're going to be gone.
Unless we learn what needs to be learned, and listen, as you say, listen and see.
Yeah, it's different. It's a discipline, isn't it? And it's a discipline, and it's such a pleasure to find people who are wanting to have these kind of conversations.
Oh, I can guarantee you there are many of us, many who need to have this conversation.
Yay.
Yeah. I wish you have a cold. I think you must have a bit of a cold, because Krista said you often will end an interview with a song, but you may not feel up to it.
I would love to sing. It's Friday afternoon, and it's a beautiful, calm day here. And what song can I sing? Oh, let's do Uluwa Ekevelina Akeloha. Loving is a practice of an awake mind. We'll do it 5 times together. I'll do it once, and then you can help. Yeah. Um, okay, it's I'll do it once, and then you do it 4 more times with me. And what we're saying over and over and over is loving is the practice of an awake mind. Um, and loving is the essence within the soul. It's kind of the same idea. And I love doing this because it helps me remember the true essence of scholarship. And where the mo'o lives is where continuity finds shelter. And so loving is the choice. And it goes like, and this is in gratitude, Lisa, for this time with you and your dark matters, and blessings for your work and what you are up to. And thank you for making this happen.
Thank you so much, Manu.
My pleasure. And 5, we do it for because 5 is a number of healing. So I just think that's all we're doing nowadays is healing. Ulua e ke velina a ke aloha. 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 Ulua e ke a ke aloha. Aloha ke akua, na kini akua, na auma kua, na kupune ke wahi pune hele. Aloha mai ka kua pau. Mahalo nui no kia aha, mahalo nui no kia kuka, me ku'ohoa Lisa, Krista.